The word dandy appears for the first time in Scotland at the end of the 18th century in a ballad which describes a group of youngsters wearing particular clothing. This term appears moreover in the English song Yankee Doodle Dandy, referred to flashy American soldier clothing. The word dandy was born as a synonym of odd and ridiculous, but at the beginning of the 19th century it arrives in England taking the meaning of fashionable man, thanks to Brummel that changed the meaning. It is not simple to define a dandy, because there are many conflicting theories and it is first of all a way of being. Dandyism is a free place. In effect, a dandy community does not exist. Dandyism was born at the beginning of the 19th century, together with its invincible rival, mass society. This phenomenon came repeatedly in periods of decadence as a way to proudly face off the melancholy of the transitional moments. It is a symbol of a crisis never solved between the individual and society. The precursors of dandyism were the so-called macaroni, a group of elegant and cosmopolitan young people who rode against a society dominated by the bourgeois authority and confidentiality. The mask he wears is a choice of unconditional values to replace those of a society where moral values seem to have vanished into conformity. The dandy speaks his own language, which is that of the dress. He is able to express and show himself by the dress. The dandy artist, instead, seems destroyed by the change of the Industrial Revolution, because the object made in series is more practical, while the unique object seems an unnecessary luxury. George Brian Brummel gave life to the first dandies during the period of the English Regency. Brummel said that to be well dressed it was not necessary to bring the attention of passersby. After his statement would disappear every pomp, giving way to a more refined and less accessible to the middle class quality, distinction. Lord Brummel came to dominate the close circles of the city, becoming a prominent figure that issued opinions on the members of the club and aristocrats of passage. Brummel has become a symbol because he was the only individual capable of making coincide life with the dress. Many refer to him as a man of mere appearance and pose, but the appearance is the substance and the pose an expression of who plays himself. In France, George Gordon Byron merged the Brummel model with Romanticism. The slow composure and the face impassivity disappeared, giving way to the expression of internal disorder. The story of Honoré de Balzac deeply influenced the French dandyism, and Stendhal creates with his novels two types of dandies. Baudelaire was one of the few dandies indifferent to aristocracy, preferring the company of young artists, geniuses of literature and painting. The dandy almost always dressed in black because he claimed to live in time of mourning. Oscar Wilde was another exponent of dandyism. His style embodied the paradox, with the reasoning that reached the opposite meaning of what he seems to want to hear. He claimed that it was simplistic to associate dandyism only to the dress code, because behind that sort of mask there was the deepest intention of reconciling the soul with the body. In Italy, we can talk about Gabriele D'Annunzio as a dandy. His romances and his several love stories influenced and scandalized the light circles. Dandy is a person aware of the difficulties of existence in the age of globalization and flattening. The dandy chooses the appearance to fight the mass society. He thinks and acts autonomously. He gives no thought to other people's thinking, and he does not worry to have something in common with the others. Dandyism is solitude. The solitude is the therapy to the disease called crowd. Crowd is boosts, shouts, vulgar laughs, obtuse curiosity, and oppression. Crowd is the public gaze, which conforms the difference, usurps the beauty, despises the thinking. He does not believe in heaven on earth and in politically correct. Only the artificiality allows in an artificial society to be natural. In the dandy's clothing is always present a rappel, a recall of a past age. The mechanicalness of the dandy's movements is in contrast with the false spontaneity of the crowd. Animals are the dandy's nostalgia for simplicity and the body and color's beauty. They are coherent because the being and the doing coincide in them. They represent the idea of clothing for the dandy. The perfect elegance of the dandy aims to rebuild the presence of the animal's being. The irony is another important feature of the dandy's personality. In fact, it was born with him, able to merge the humor with the intellectual critic and the insanity of feelings and intellect. Sincerity and irony coincide. Irony is denial. The mass thinks that the dandy's irony is cynic, while its meaning is intense. Using irony, it directs himself to life, love, society, God, and art. We often think, wrongly, that the dandy is not happy. We can talk about subtle happiness. In this type of happiness, there is the total adhesion of the individual to the life, which concerns the totality of feelings, opening to the suffering and melancholy. In this way, everything exists, has a sense, and gives joy only by existing. Many people talk about the dandies considering it disappeared, but many others believe in the actual existence of this phenomenon. In the end, it can be said that dandyism is not distinguished, and probably it will never be. It represents, in fact, the behavior of the human being that opposes himself to the mass society, to the conformism that affects every sector of life.